These are not social democrats. These are hardcore, godless communists. They're godless communists. All communists are godless. They don't believe in God.
Andy, did you get your tickets to the fair?
The what is it? The Great American State Fair or whatever, the one in DC.
Is it
Unfortunately,
something 250? Was
yeah.
it?
Unfortunately, it seems like everybody else in America, I'm not going. I don't know what they were expecting attendance wise, but all the pictures I've seen have been almost nobody there. And I'm not even trying to be like rude when I say nobody. I mean a couple hundred people spread out over the entire lawn. Maybe maybe it's ramping up, and on the 4th of July weekend it'll be super packed. But this week nobody's there, from what I can tell.
Yeah, but what was it, World's Fair? Didn't they like people came from all over to go to the World's Fair back in the day?
So very different things though. Like the World's Fair was the thing, especially back in the day, where you would go and like electricity. Like the first time most people saw electricity was at one of the World's Fairs. Like they
Oh,
had like the World's Fair was a very different thing. This is a deal, and it doesn't look that cool. I don't know how they could have made it look more cool, but like there's like little like tent booths for every state. So you like walk like the one for South Carolina I keep seeing online because there's a lot of Confederate flags. Like you walk into it and it's basically Confederate flags and NASCAR. And it's like you're supposed to walk into the tent and see like the history and what makes the state special. And all it was NASCAR and Confederate flags. So
why That's like the dividing part of our country. That's
yeah,
the
so
most divisive thing you could possibly put up.
the
And the have you been to the Texas State Fair before? And
yeah,
it is enormous. There's people everywhere. It's jam-packed with people. There's tons of good food, tons of great rides, tons of anything you could possibly. It's a fun event. This looks like they just threw something together.
so
It's kind of annoying, actually.
it doesn't I don't like what they did. But to back up real quick, South Carolina, their state flag was like it wasn't just the Confederate flag, but the Confederate flag was a major part of their state flag until like 10 years ago. They South Carolina really held on to that for a while. The Texas State Fair, have you gone to a state fair in Colorado or anywhere else since you left Texas?
No, but I've got friends from Minnesota, and apparently they have a huge one.
I'll tell you, I've been to three different state fairs, Texas being one, and I've been to two other states. And let me tell you, both of the other two sucked compared to Texas. Like the Texas State Fair is something unique. The state fair in Oklahoma is laughable. It's like a little side of the road carnival. Like,
Okay.
anyhow,
Were there more people there than the U.S. fair?
probably. And
Whatever
I
they
feel
call
bad because there's performers. There's like bands on a stage, like in front of the what's it
it.
called, the National Mall, and they're out there singing their heart out. And then the camera turns, and there's like seven people standing out in the grass listening to them, and it's like I feel bad. So, and
Yeah.
I I feel bad, but also like Trump did this. He made it all about himself. Even they're doing something on the 4th of July, and he's mad. So his rally was 2 or 3 nights ago. I didn't pull any of the tape, but there's somebody was just standing at the exit filming people leaving while Trump was still talking. You can see Trump in the background. You can hear him still giving a speech, and they're just filing out. And he was doing the same. The problem is he does the same speech. So the people that go to Trump's rallies, like they don't just go to one. Like if you went to a Trump rally, I'll bet 95% of the people there, this is not their first Trump rally. They've been to a
Yeah.
lot of them. And he does the same speech every time. And I got to believe it gets old. Like it hits a certain point where it's like, we've heard this before. Let's beat the traffic and people get out of there. So,
Yeah.
anyhow, but
Hmm.
whatever's happening on the 4th of July, he's turning into a Trump rally again. So it sucks because like I want to celebrate America 250. Like us have some patriotism here. But then he starts making it all about himself, and I'm like, no, screw it. I don't want to be a part of this. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are in that boat.
Yeah. I mean, he put the Trump Day Arch at the
It
fair.
was a it was a little mini like Arc de Trump that was like it was
Architect.
like the Timu version of his arch. Like it was a little faux arch.
And then the Ferris wheel, apparently that was the only ride in the entire place, and the
Okay.
power went out, the generator went out for that, so there was no rides at this thing. The the food tents, their power went out, and so all the ice cream melted. There was no seating. Like there's pictures of like children sitting on the ground in front of trash cans because there's no seating for them to eat. Like
Mm.
this thing, we spent $80 million on what?
I don't know, but also let me say this. Part of the problem, a lot of the videos I've seen, like there's groups of like 4 or 5 National Guard soldiers walking around like all over the place. Like everywhere you look, there's more National Guard soldiers out there than there are people. And like I don't want to say it's militarized, but that's the best word I can come up with. But like I wouldn't want to take my wife and kid to a place where there's soldiers all over. That's a bad feeling. Like why is the army here? Like
Yeah.
little weird. And also there's they have these when you pull into like a mall parking lot or like a shopping center parking lot and there's like a little trailer that has a big pole going up and cameras on it like to
Hmm.
monitor theft in the parking lot. They have those set up all around, and if you walk up and stop close to one, like an automated voice comes down and says, "This there's no loitering in this area. Please move on."
Oh
And
my
it's like,
God.
well, what? Oh, and we're at the National Mall. I want to stand here. I want to take it in. I want to look at the pool. I want to look at the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial. Like, there's no loitering, and there's all kinds of video of people walking up and stopping, and then a little automated voice tells you to please keep moving, no loitering.
Loitering is not permitted in this area. Please proceed to a designated location. Thank you for your cooperation.
They've turned
What is
it
this
in.
country coming to?
They've turned it into like a very secure area, like overly secure. Like I would like to know that the fair I'm going to is safe, but it's a little like it's I don't know what the right word is. It's almost frightening because it's like, hey, what's up with all the security? Is there credible threats? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So anyhow, hopefully I hope that America has a good 250. Hopefully over the weekend of the 4th, people will go out there. But when you look at everything that they've done out there, duh, like of course nobody's showing up. Like it's heavily militarized. I wouldn't want to go. I'm clear. I wouldn't go regardless, but even if I lived a half an hour from there, I probably wouldn't go.
In NPR had a lady on who worked for the Smithsonian before I guess she got fired through Doge. But apparently they were putting together like this huge, grandiose 250 event, and Trump just kind of came in and said, "Nope, we're going to do it my way," and
Yeah.
threw it all out. And this is what we get.
They were working on this for several years. Like back in the
Yeah.
Biden presidency, they were working on what they were going to do for this. And of course, Trump thinks he knows how to throw the best parties. So yeah, he anyhow. Um, to upset you, the first thing we're going to talk about. By the way, anything else on the fair?
No, I think that's
Okay. Have you seen what's going on in Texas, buddy?
it. Yeah, you gave me a little bit of information on it, but I don't know exactly.
It's pretty crappy. So headline from ABC: breaking. Texas State Board of Education has voted to make Bible passages required in public schools. Um, okay, right here, separation of
Required?
required. Okay. Now, the first story I just saw says reading passages of the Bible is going to be required. Now, in Oklahoma, we tried this a year or two ago. Luckily, the court stepped in. But the school superintendent, Ryan Walters, was trying to say that, well, parts of the Bible are history. And I, I think probably not, but I'll hear you out. What is it that you say is history? Maybe there is something historically accurate in the Bible. I'm going to piss people off by saying that. There's a lot of people that think that every single word in the Bible is historically accurate. Not so much. I wouldn't agree with that. Is all I'm going to say. If you believe that, cool. And within your own home, you are free to talk to your children and your parents, whoever. You're free to talk about that. But in public schools, we're not going to treat this like this is a historical record, in my opinion. CBS did give a little breakdown of what kind of things they're going to be learning. So check this out.
Millions of public school students in Texas will soon be required to read Bible passages along with classic works of literature and historic documents like the Declaration of Independence. The new reading list approved by the Texas State Board of Education is set to begin in 2030 and also includes Bible stories and picture books like Noah's Ark and the stories of Exodus and Adam and Eve for older students. It follows last year's required posting of the Ten Commandments, a move recently upheld in federal court.
So hold on. If we're going to teach the story of Noah's Ark and say that it is historically accurate, like I got a problem. Like right, like this is. So I was talking to a buddy about this yesterday. I know some religious people that are religious; they're true believers. But if I talk to them about the Bible, they'll say, "Oh, well, some of the stories are there to teach a lesson. Like we know it didn't really happen, but it's a
all
good
there to teach a lesson."
And if you say that to me, I'm super cool with that. Like, okay, cool. We both agree on that. we have mutual friends that when I've brought up, like, well, obviously Noah's Ark isn't true, that have stopped me and gone, hold on, Andy, you know that they've found pieces of Noah's Ark, right? Like they're constantly no. If you think that Noah, a 500-year-old man, built a ship and got two of every animal to come from across the world and get on it and not eat each other and ride out, and also Noah and his family were the only ones that survived. There were fishermen at the time. There were fishermen with fishing boats. What happened to all of them? Did their boats stop working? Like, there's a lot of holes in the story, is all I'm trying to say.
Tons of holes in the story. First of all, my go-to is kangaroos can't swim.
All the animals from different continents somehow made it to the Middle East.
Yeah, kangaroos can't swim. That's done.
Yeah. Anyhow, and let alone, because how long was he on the boat with all the animals? Wasn't it like 40 days, or am I pulling that? I don't know where that's from. Maybe
Yeah, I
I
think it
got
was
that
40
wrong.
days.
However long it was,
It's always
let's
40
just
days in the Bible.
let's just take into account how much food, how much weight, how many tons of food would need to get brought onto the boat for that many animals. Two of every type of animal on Earth. Anyhow, and the other one he said was the story of Adam and Eve, which I thought we were kind of past this. I thought we were at the point where like evolution was taught in schools and all that, but now
Yeah.
we're going to teach Adam and Eve in school. So
That's ridiculous.
yeah,
That's
so
that's kind of fucked up, actually.
So-
Because what are they going to do? Teach both, or are they going to?
I don't know how you would teach both and say they're both historically accurate.
Yeah,
I got no idea.
yeah.
And
And the thing that pisses me off about Adam and Eve, it's like, okay, so if Adam and Eve had children, then they would have to sleep with their children, and their children would have to sleep with each other to create the rest of the world.
the story of Adam and Eve basically is that we are all inbred. Like that's kind of
Yeah. Well,
Where
and
did-
also Noah's Ark, because they're the only survivors. That family
Yeah.
was the only
So
survivors.
we
So
were
then
we were inbred and we worked our way out of that. And then God got mad at everybody and killed everybody. That's the other, real quick. There's several times in the Bible where God gets mad at everybody and just decides to kill everyone. Like, it's a little weird, but anyhow. So yeah, one of those times was Noah's Ark. Anyhow, it's a little weird. Adam and Eve. I can't believe. Again, I don't know the Bible well enough to say what I would have been cool with, but I'll bet there are some parts of the Bible that, if they wanted to talk about that for historical record or whatever, I'll bet it would have made sense. But Noah's Ark and Adam and Eve, what are we doing? Like, why? So the good thing about this is that it's not set to take place until 2030, and I think that's by design to let court cases work out, because this is going to go all the way to the Supreme Court. Like, so somebody has already challenged this, I'm sure. It's going to go through several appeals. I'm worried that when it gets to the Supreme Court, like the court is stacked, 6 Republicans, 3 Democrats. I think, and if they get the green light at that point, say the Supreme Court says, yep, this is cool, every red state in the South is going to follow suit immediately. Oklahoma, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, you name it, they're all going to be on board. Republicans spend a lot of time talking about Sharia law and how all these Muslims want to come over here and impress their religion onto us. That's what we're doing here. And we're going to get into the Constitution here in a second. But Dan Patrick, who's lieutenant governor of Texas, was in the Oval Office with Trump the day this happened. And Trump, they were all doing a victory lap, basically, celebrating that they're finally going to teach the Bible in public schools. Did you see any of this press conference?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Before we get into the meat of the press conference, you know all those times that Trump appears to fall asleep in the Oval Office, and I don't know if you're on Twitter much, but the Republicans always say no, they just took a picture when his eyes were closed, like he wasn't sleeping there. But there's video of him several times. There's video of him kind of waking up. You know when you do that little like you kind of dozed off and you wake up and your eyes go wide.
Sure.
We got the very best one of those so far from this meeting, and it's only a quick clip, but I want you to watch this.
To be kept in a closet. We saw over and over again students being told they can form a club, but not if it's a religious club. They can speak.
What do you think? Did he doze off there? I'm pretty sure
And he went right back to sleep.
He closed his eyes immediately again. Well, anyhow, let's get into what Dan Patrick said here, because this is the alarming part. What I've told you so far isn't even the alarming part. Check out Dan Patrick, Lieutenant Governor of Texas.
That public official must, in writing, explain how that person has violated the Constitution. Because, again, the separation of church and state is not in the Constitution. And from this day forward, if anyone says that to you and they're in public office, or serve in any agency in any official capacity, they have to point out exactly where you have violated the Constitution, because you have not. And from this day forward, that phrase should have no power over people of all faiths ever again in America.
Thank you. Okay, how about
Where is the separation of church and state?
So this is a fantastic argument right here. Okay. I've always believed that somewhere in the Constitution it lays out that, a clear definition of separation of church and state. I've always heard that. He just said that. He said, basically what he was saying there, like the beginning of that got cut off, is that if anybody wants to challenge this in the courts, they have to point out exactly where in the Bible does it say, the word separation of church and state, or not in the Bible, sorry, in the Constitution. Sorry, Constitution. So here's where it gets interesting. There is the Constitution, and then there are the amendments to the Constitution. Okay. Would you consider the amendments to the Constitution to be part of the Constitution? They're amending
100%. 100%.
So let's just get that out there. The Bill of Rights was the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. Okay. So first of all, the phrase separation of church and state, those words together, appears nowhere in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights, any of the amendments. Okay. But the definition, let's take a look at what it actually says. So in the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, the Establishment Clause, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. This prevents the government from establishing a national religion, financially supporting religious institutions, or favoring one. And then there's the Free Exercise Clause. It says cannot prohibit the free exercise thereof. This guarantees individuals the right to practice faith without government interference or to hold no religious beliefs at all. So it gives you the definition of what a separation of church and state is, but it never says those exact words, separation of church and state. But it's the whole First Amendment is freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, freedom of, and it specifically says, and for people that have no religion at all, the government shall not impress any religion onto the people. Like he's playing semantics here. Like, yeah, okay, you can never find that phrase in there. Some bullshit, in my opinion.
Right. But
so where they got fucking, I'll tell you what, they're doing things smarter the second time around, the second Trump term. But check, and I didn't read this whole thing.
we both went to school in Texas. We went to school through the entire public school system in Texas almost. And we went to school with people who were not Christians, right? There were plenty.
We had one Jewish kid in our school, I remember. I'm sure
there was way more than that. But anyway, we had people from all different religions throughout our school. We had Muslim, we had all this, and now we're going to teach them Christianity in our schools. This is like forced indoctrination of religion, which I think is the complete idea behind what the Constitution says.
Agreed. I agree. Real quick, this is what the DOJ put out on that very same day. And if you notice, it's got the DOJ symbol right across the front. But the Religious Liberty Commission, they're trying to, without Congress, basically rewrite what the federal government stance is on separation of church and state. And it might hold up. Like, that's the scary part, is like when this goes to court, there's going to have to be, okay, what does the White House say? What does the DOJ say? Well, the DOJ says they can impress their religion upon you. This is a long document, and I tried to read through to find parts of it to kind of go through, but I didn't. It's a long document. I'll have to read through it before next time. But they're being smart about setting up a legal backing to what they're doing this time. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I'm just saying, first Trump term, they wouldn't have even thought to try this. This time, they got smart people behind them trying to make it happen. That's all I'm saying. A little scary, huh?
Yeah. Interesting.
Anyhow,
I mean, it kind of makes our society stupider if you start teaching things that aren't actual truth, historical facts in schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird thing, and I haven't fully formed this thought, but like parents, I'm going to say right-wing parents especially, they're like, I don't want the school talking to my kids about sex education, the different genders, like all these things that they don't trust the school to talk to their kids about. But then, no, I want the school to talk to my kids about religion. And also, like, even if you are Christian, I don't know all the differences, but whether you're a Baptist or a Catholic or a Presbyterian or whatever, like there's slight differences in it. What version of it are they going to be teaching? In Texas, are they going to be teaching Southern Baptist theology? Slightly different than Catholic theology.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do this?
What are they going to teach in? Yeah, it's very confusing. Like, keep
Yeah.
religion out of schools. I think it's the best way to.
You in America, you have the freedom to be Christian. You also have the freedom to be not be Christian. Like this is very simple.
Yeah.
For all the and Texas has large pockets of Indian, which are I'm going to sound dumb saying that. Are Indians Hindu or what are they? I don't know what they are.
Yeah, I mean, there's Buddhist, there's Hindu, there's a ton of different religions.
Yeah, there's Muslim people, there's Jewish people. What's great is I've seen several pastors from Texas, like religious leaders, that have come out and said, "Hey, I'm totally against this. Like the church, schools have no business doing this." So,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
it's
know.
anyhow, that's where we're at. So, the other main thing I wanted to talk about today, I've told you repeatedly that I'm not going to call Trump a fascist or a authoritarian until he does one very specific thing. Do you remember what that one thing is?
Control the elections.
Yeah, basically prevents a free and fair election. People have been sounding the alarm bells for a while, and I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt. Like until he actually does it, I'm not going to start freaking out. This week was a weird turn heading up to the midterms. There was one day in particular, he put out a long truth social in the morning, and I want to take a look at it real quick. But then he went on to do a speech in front of a group of senators and donors that was very, very shocking. Check out this truth though first. So he said, "I will be speaking at 1:30 to the Faith and Freedom Coalition, and one of the statements I will be making, perhaps the most important of them all, concerns the recent election of communists in our country. Communism is very easy to sell. I'd be the greatest communist in the history. I'd give free rent, free houses, free food. Everything is free. Unfortunately, after 2 or 3 years, the country where this is taking place would fail. It always does. And then you'll start living in squalor. There will be no food, there will be no housing, there will be no military, there will be nothing. You'll be a third world in every way, and everyone will suffer or die. I'm sorry to say, but assassinations of those who oppose them is a very important element of their ideology." So he's saying they're going to assassinate anybody that opposes them. "They're animals, and in many cases, not smart, but in some cases, they are. It's easy for them to get followers because they make promises that they know they can't keep, and the Democrats aren't fighting back. These ruthless communists will attack all religions, but in particular Christianity. They always do. All communist countries attack religions violently. As you know, we recently struck Nigeria and largely ended the slaughter of the great Christian population. They know that if they go further, the attack will be far greater, and in that, blah, blah, blah." He's talking about Nigeria here. Anyhow, the whole point is he's turning the election of 3 DSA. You know what DSA stands for?
District state attorney.
No, Democrat Socialist of America. So in New York this last week, Mamdani backed 3 DSA candidates, and they ended up winning. They're just like Mamdani. They're socialist. I feel like we need to do a whole episode explaining what the difference between a democratic socialist and a communist is, because there is a big difference. Everybody tries to say Bernie Sanders is a communist. If you listen to Bernie talk, it doesn't sound like communism, but Trump is going to try to paint them as the new Democratic Party. All the Democrats are communists. Communists want to kill all Christians. They want to assassinate anyone that stands in their way, and they want to turn our country into a third world country. Like that's where this is heading. Okay, So he gave that long tweet, Truth Social, and then he goes out in front of that Faith Commission. Here's what he had to say.
The way they fight me, they'd be victorious. They didn't beat us, but they'd be victorious against the communists. But they don't have the courage to do so, so they're turning communists themselves. It's becoming a communist party. These are not social Democrats. These are hardcore, godless communists. They're godless communists. All communists are godless. They don't believe in God. This is the most serious threat to our country since its existence, in my opinion, 250 years ago. This is a major threat to our country.
What the fuck?
So this is a major threat to our country. Didn't flat out say it, but it's like our country is under attack if we let this proceed. Okay.
Okay.
Little scary. Now, he went on in that speech to say that the Democrats cheated every election. And the main thing I thought was funny is he said that they'll figure out how many more votes they need to win, and then they'll go find those votes. Do you remember a certain time in the last, I don't know, 6 years where there was one candidate,
Find me 1,000 something votes. Yeah, I remember.
11,780? Somebody put this together for me, but check this clip real quick.
And weeks and weeks. And you know what they do? They cheat. How many votes do we need? How many votes? That's why they take their time. How many votes do we need? Okay, here they are. It's honestly, it's terrible. We're a third world country with elections.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Flat out telling the Secretary of State of Georgia to find me 11,780 votes and then just say you've recalculated. There's no problem with doing that. There's no problem with inventing fraudulent votes to win an election, is what he's saying. And now he's saying that the Democrats are clearly going to do that in the midterms. He is sounding alarm bells all over that the midterms are going to be rigged. The Democrats are going to rig it to try to take power. We have to stop them. I'm very worried that we're going to have a peaceful transition of the House of Representatives and maybe the Senate. I think he's going to, no matter what happens, if they lose the House, he is going to claim fraud. They are going to refuse to seat new congressmen. When you were saying this to me 6 months ago, I was telling you to calm down. I was saying, hey, we're not there yet. I think it's inevitable at this point. I don't see, and the very particular reason for it is because he cannot have any oversight on him right now. Like all the shit they've been doing for the last year and a half. If Congress goes to the Democrats, they're going to start holding hearings and committees and subpoenas and getting to the bottom of all the shit that's been going on. There's going to be trouble. Like people are going to be in legal jeopardy because of that. And I think they all fully understand that. I don't think the Republicans in the House or the Senate are going to push back on him on this because they realize they are equally in trouble. So I think the full weight of the Republican Party is going to go to trying to stop this from being a fair election. Tell me I'm wrong.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. If that's the case, we don't live in America anymore. This is not a free country anymore. This is not a democratic society. We are run by fascism. I mean, that's 100% fascism, right? Like I've been saying fascist since he got elected, basically.
And I don't know, and I guess we should look it up. I don't know if fascist or authoritarian is the right word, but it's one of those two. I would feel
sure.
We need to get the definition right.
Well, yeah, sure. And I've been saying it for a long time, and it's been there, but and it's slowly been creeping in. It started at 20%. He's just talking it. So he's, it's like a 20% fascism. But if that happens, we're full blown 100% if he rigs the elections. And he kind of already has. When he did pardoning the January 6th people, just having January 6th to start with was a fascist.
The fact that we reelected the guy that inspired January 6th, that's
yes. Dude, we live in a country that's not, I don't know, free. We don't live in a free country anymore.
That's scary. Real quick, last clip I have on elections for you real quick, but Mike Johnson, after Trump spoke, Mike Johnson spoke too, and he's speaking to donors and fellow congressmen here. What he said was very telling to me, but check this out.
Say, I am on the ballot, because in a real sense he is. If we were to lose the midterms, heaven forbid, these Democrats, y'all, impeachment's not even the big concern. They will turn every committee of Congress into an investigative body, and they'll go after the president's family, the cabinet, his donors and friends. Half of you in this room will be targeted. I run the protection program. I'll take care of you, okay? We're going to win. We're going to win the midterm, okay? All right?
I run the protection program. Hold on. The right thing to say there would be they're going to waste all this time doing all these investigations. They're going to find nothing because we haven't done anything illegal. That would be the thing you would want him to say. He didn't even try to make that argument. He said, they're going to come after us and half of you might be in jail. I will protect you. If he thinks that the president, the president's family, and half the Congress could end up in jail, that means he's pretty aware that they've been doing things that they could get found guilty of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, do you? Yeah.
Trump had to go all in on the last election because he couldn't go to jail. Like he won the presidency as a way of staying out of jail, and now we have a lot of people around the president, whether it be congressmen, cabinet members, whatever, that are in that same boat where they have to keep power or else they could go to jail. If Trump says, "Hey, do this," do you think there's going to be anybody in the White House that's going to say, "Sir, you can't do that"? In 2020, we had people like that. There were lawyers, there were people that said, "Hey, sir, that's not constitutional. You can't do it." There are none of those people around right now. We're
Yeah, they're all criminals now. They're all
Yep.
criminals, and Trump could send any one of them to jail at any given moment. So, oh my God.
For the first time, I'm genuinely very worried about the midterms in 2028. I mean, but the midterms we got to focus on first. But I I don't see any scenario where Democrats win the House and then the transition just happens and everybody gets sworn in and now Democrats control the House. Like there will be a huge fight. They might end up getting power in the House, but it won't be till after a lot of court cases, a lot of challenges, a lot of screaming from Trump on social media. Like that's where we're heading.
Hmm. Crazy.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Fun info for a Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. I don't know. Where do you move to? Where do you go?
I don't know. I'm stuck here. I the thought of uprooting a family and leaving the country, like you as a single dude with you could do it rather easily. For me, it'd be much harder. I'm stuck here, so I'm just gonna have to put up with it.
Yeah. Get put up with fascism, like living in a fascist country. You're just gonna stay and live in it.
I'm gonna podcast my way through it until they arrest me, which will
Be
be
with the,
will be soon.
well,
Yeah.
Don Jr. is the president.
Oh God.
Ivanka and Jared, they're
Yeah.
presidents.
Ivanka and Jared are gonna be on their private island in the Mediterranean somewhere.
I don't know if that's going to go through. I mean, the entire country has risen up and they're saying,
Yeah,
"Fuck no."
just mass protests about it. So
Yeah.
anyhow, um, that's all I got. Real quick, also, we are still under a technical ceasefire, but we bombed Iran on Friday night and Saturday afternoon. They've been hitting our bases in the Gulf. Apparently, ships have stopped moving through the strait just because they're afraid they're going to get hit because Iran did hit a ship on Friday. So I would spend more time talking about the war. I don't know. It seems like we're still under a ceasefire. Everybody's happy to keep calling this a ceasefire while we're shooting at each other. So, whatever.
Whatever. Who
Yeah.
cares? Who cares? Nobody gives a shit anymore. The world's tanked. We're all fucked.
Yeah,
Like,
so that's the message for this Sunday.
when is Elon going to take all these billionaires to Mars?
Not soon enough. Get off our planet, sir. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, you got anything else?
Nope, I'm
All
good.
right. Have a good evening, brother. Later.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.